Any system like eternity, which allows men to choose their own future, will end by choosing safety and mediocrity, and in such a reality, the stars are out of reach. Any system like eternity, which allows men to choose their own future, will end by choosing safety and mediocrity, and in such a reality, the stars are out of reach. I'm Michael Leverts. This is Fit to be Read. Isaac Asimov's The End of Eternity, published in 1955, is a classic and unique time travel story. The novel spans the distant past and the far future. As with each review on this channel, the episode will begin with a spoiler-free review, character analysis, and plot summary. Following that summary, I'll announce a 5 likes and a 5 dislikes segment that will include spoilers. If you haven't already done so, click the subscribe button and the notification bell, and let's get started. Eternals acting as time cops, time scientists, time observers, or time tinkerers have the means of extratemporal navigation. Eternity is established in approximately the 27th century, just a few centuries after time travel was established. Eternals are most interested in monitoring and assessing humanity from centuries prior to the 27th century all the way forward to about the 70,000th century. This is a time travel book. It is also, in a way, dystopian science fiction. It is a suspense, a mystery, a thriller. Asimov delivers all of that, as well as themes of deception, paranoia, lust, and morality. He muses philosophically on interstellar travel, surprise, surprise, galactic empires, multiple realities, and social engineering. How unlike him? Andrew Harlan is a timer, a technician. He is an Eternal. When we meet him in the novel, he is a technician. Previously, he was a senior observer. He is promoted to the role of technician, eventually settling in under the management and tutelage of senior computer Laban Twissel. Computers, especially those on the All-When Council, are the creme de la creme of eternity. A successful eternal career or life path begins with an individual being plucked from reality and chosen to be a timer, trained as a cub, and then promoted to the roles of observer, then a specialist such as a technician or maybe a sociologist, and finally, if fortunate enough, computer. Those who don't quite make the cut after cubhood are relegated to maintenance. While maintenance is a tragic appointment, the truth of the matter is that eternity lives and breathes because of the masses and the work of maintenance. Without maintenance, eternity would not exist. Computers and technicians could not exist without the effort and labor of maintenance. The reverse is not true. Eternity seems to exist in its own reality, sitting outside of and perhaps parallel to, let's call it, normal reality. Normal reality is basically human history and its future. Any moment in time or century in time is accessible for the most part by the Eternals. They show up in their time kettles that all equate to ersatz elevators in time shafts that take timers anywhere, or rather any when for the most part, that they wish to go. The timers observe reality and determine if any shift or micro adjustment is called for to make sure that humanity progresses at its safest possible course. This is in part to protect eternity, but mostly to ensure the longevity of a supposedly prosperous humanity. It's important to note that while Eternals are caught up in steering humanity from anything too risky, it also means sacrificing the very extraordinary. What might be the cost of making reality changes to benefit the common good? Asimov does a great job throughout the novel of planting seeds of curiosity in the reader's head to evoke contemplation of the implications of such a strategy. Early in the book, we do find out that there are a chunk of centuries that appear to be inaccessible. Knowing this isn't a spoiler, guessing as to why they are unreachable is a mystery that the Eternals may never understand, because these centuries are just like really far into the future. I did mention and suggest dystopia. Shining a light on eternity, this is a caste system society where only elite men hold positions of any substance or importance. Those who don't make it to the elite castes are relegated to maintenance. While the lives of those in maintenance are not greatly described, it's clearly a shit assignment. The ruling All-Wen Council sits above it all and doesn't seem to bat an eye at issuing a death penalty for Eternals or making reality changes that could wipe millions from existence. Eternals, in their benevolence, wield the butterfly effect with reality changes as simple as hiding somebody's car keys to the more direct and extreme of cutting a congressman's brake line. Because of the tone in which Asimov presents the story, the reader is not going to immediately feel Orwellian vibes. The end of eternity disguises much of the dystopia behind optimism, providing the reader with an opportunity to contemplate the idea of free will. The most serious areas of technology the Eternals are involved with micromanaging are atomic weaponry and, indirectly, advances that could lead to interstellar travel. On the surface, it's not hard to accept the premise that humanity, left to its own device, could lead to its own demise, and the existence of eternity is an inevitable construct in a universe that has realized time travel. The deeper dive, however, considers that Eternals are humans with their own flaws, prejudices, and motives. We have no reason to think that there is any diversity in race or gender among the Eternals, further calling into question the efficacy of them as humanity's stewards. Even if well-meaning, Eternals are clearly ignorant of their shortcomings. There is some lip service that's given to justify why women are not Eternals. Their omission, though, is still a black mark against eternity. Andrew Harlan is clearly a rising star among the Eternals. He has caught the eye of computer Twisell, who has taken him on as his personal technician. Harlan's most valued strengths are his interests and awareness of primitive human history, the time before eternity and time travel, as well as his expertise in assessing minimum necessary change, meaning interfering as little as possible while still trying to effect the desired reality change, even if the change is a little ripple that takes centuries to become realized. There are a few well-crafted flashback moments in the book. The novel begins with one of these when it introduces us to Harlan, and then we find out that he's breaking the law to find out information about Noyes Lambent, who is significant to him and his motives and is essential to the story. Harlan is a very well-developed protagonist with relatable flaws, as well as an interesting psychological profile. That profile includes heavy doses of trust issues and paranoia. This paranoia directs much of his action and inaction throughout the novel. Noyes is from one of the more sexually liberated and decadent centuries. Noyes is easily the most likable, formidable, and respectable character in the book, but her treatment as a character in the book is at times a little bit all over the map. Noyes, for the most part of the book, is primarily relevant for her influence on Harlan's story. Their relationship has the power to affect the existence of eternity. Time travel fiction is very easy to do wrong. It's typical for an audience to consider how small changes in the past can have unpredictable consequences in the future. And then, of course, there is the rabbit hole many of us will go down if we think about the implication of the grandfather paradox or other temporal contradictions. This never interferes with or trips up Asimov's time travel, and the story is all the better for it. Time travel or manipulation of time stories usually look at the implication of timeline altering in regards to changing events, changing governments, etc. While Eternity does not completely avoid all of that, it includes consideration of the enormity of altering personalities on a grand scale. Because of something I have done, this many millions of people are new personalities? Like every other Asimov novel I've read, The End of Eternity is a fit-to-be-read classic. Asimov is serving suspense and delivering mystery after mystery after mystery, culminating in a surprise finale. The book is full of spoiler-worthy moments, and spoiling those moments is what I'm about to do right now. If you're planning to read The End of Eternity and you want to avoid spoilers, go read the book and catch the rest of this review later, because here are my 5 likes and my 5 dislikes with spoilers for The End of Eternity. Like number 1. In many ways, Eternity is a dystopian institution. interesting in the novel is that we don't follow the story from the perspective of social reformer or revolutionaries, but from the privileged position of the upper caste, or the upper level, if you will. This ensures the reader will think deeper about all of the things that Asimov is prompting us to think about, especially in regards to individualism versus communalism versus collectivism. Dislike number 1. Character depth is lacking. Asimov notoriously does not put a lot into developing deep, well-rounded characters in his most famous works. That's stylistically Asimov, and usually it's fine by me, as his work's not so much about that. It's more about the ideas, the imagination, philosophy, and sociology. In Eternity, I think the story would have benefited from richer characters, as it would have made the events and decisions a little bit more consequential. Like number 2, there's so much suspense, even in small moments. Asimov delivers very interesting mysteries and mind games, and he misdirects us from the larger mysteries that when he reveals them to us or even teases them, we're greatly surprised. Like number 3, the treatment of how atomic war might happen. Twistle comments that it's not about what would cause war. The fact that it's a possibility means it's inevitability. It's not about what would cause it. The only thing that would ensure that it would not happen was intervention from Eternity. Like number 4, Harlan's paranoia and assumptions. Often Asimov's work is not about character depth. He's more excited and interested in larger issues and ideas. Harlan is a realized character, and just through witnessing his paranoia and the posturing that it breeds, his character is interesting, rich, and realized. Dislike number 2, Noyes, and I'm calling her Noyes because her name sounds like noise, and I don't want to keep saying noise, but Noyes, I've heard Eternity is referenced as an Asimov novel that does romance right for a change. Frankly, to me, that's a reach. The relationship with Noyes, for me, is a huge nothing burger. The relationship is, of course, a device to serve as motive for Harlan, and it works for the most part, but surely the reader forgets about her as much as Harlan does at times. This might be part of the misdirection, considering that her manipulation is part of the eventual big reveal. I still needed more here. Dislike number 3. Sticking with Noyes, I would have appreciated more context to her attraction to Harlan. Obviously, we know she targeted him, but it's essential to the suspense of the story that we believe that the two of them are emphatically drawn to each other. It needed to be more believable on both sides and from both of them. Dislike number 4. The dystopian nature of Eternity is a little shortchanged in the storytelling. I really crave just a few more pages of context, illustrating what life was like for maintenance, or more examples of consequences given to those who were punished for minor infractions. Dislike number 5. The big brother of this story is the All-When Council. I would have liked to see a little bit more about this council. I like how the story takes a utopian eternity that is really a dystopian entity? Yeah. I would have liked a deeper dive into the workings of this council. Like number 5, it's good to have a familiar character to follow in this unusual far future setting. Harlan's interest in primitive history certainly lends him a persona that helps me to buy into him not feeling too foreign, as maybe he should, considering the setting. Asimov covers his butt similarly during Harlan's brief mention of Saint Nick. Harlan states that it's likely no one else has any idea of the reference, interrupting any reader's opportunity to think it's ridiculous that Santa Claus references would be a current or appropriate reference. Asimov's novels are rarely just stories. They are lessons in philosophy examining humanity. In the End of Eternity, under the lens are free will, social planning, and human evolution and advancement. Thank you for watching today. I'm Michael Leverts. This is Fit to be Read. Please like, please subscribe, please click the notification bell, and YouTube will let you know every Thursday at 1 o'clock when I release new content. Thank you.